not even one of my most anticipated Star Wars shows. It was period was my most anticipated Star Wars show and one of my most anticipated shows ever on Disney Plus when Obi-Wan Kenobi was announced, bringing back Ewan McGregor, bringing back Hayden Christensen, and putting him in the Darth Vader outfit, and getting those two back on screen together, being a follow-up from Revenge of the Sith. 10 years later, catching up with Obi-Wan. And when that premiere episode came out, I loved it. I thought they had it. I thought they captured what they needed to capture, the PTSD that Obi-Wan was experiencing with coming back into contact with Anakin and Darth Vader and all this stuff. And there was some fantastic Darth Vader moments in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I loved the final confrontation between the two. The split mask scene with Hayden and Ewan is one of my favorite Star Wars scenes of all time. But the show was a huge disappointment to me. Aside from all the Vader stuff, aside from the Obi-Wan and Anakin interactions, I thought the show was a drag. I thought the show was repetitive and redundant, and I think the writing really let the show down. I think they tried to stretch out a story that could have been a really compelling story, but they filled it with Princess Leia getting captured, and then they rescue her, and then the next episode she's captured again, so she gets rescued again, just repeating itself. And there was some creative decisions they made with Luke being involved that I just thought broke canon, or at least retroactively didn't work for my brain with A New Hope. And there was just a lot of plunders, and I didn't realize how much I disliked Obi-Wan Season 1 until I rewatched it with my wife when I was showing her it for the first time as we were going through the Star Wars movies and shows. And we watched Obi-Wan again, and I thought it aged horribly. I think of all the Disney Plus Star Wars shows, I think Obi-Wan has aged the worst for me. Still some great moments that I'm glad we got, but overall, I was not into Obi-Wan Season 1. So I'm not really clamoring for an Obi-Wan Season 2. I still love Ewan McGregor in the role. I still think he was great, but overall, the show kind of proved to me I don't want Season 2. But that's not to take away from the people who do want Season 2. A lot of people want Season 2. One of those people is Ewan McGregor. And Ewan McGregor was talking about how they are currently exploring the idea of a Season 2. This comes to us from TV Line. And here's what they had to say about this. It says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor claims we're exploring Season 2 possibilities. The force of positive thinking continues to be strong with Ewan McGregor, who said at LA Comic-Con this past weekend that he and someone else are exploring possibilities for a second season of Disney Plus's live-action Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars series. Set 10 years after the events of 2005 Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1 found our titular hero hiding out from the Force-sensitive agents known as Inquisitors, who were tasked with dispatching all surviving Jedi. Following young Princess Leia kidnapping a ploy by Inquisitor Reva, draw him out, Obi-Wan left his decade-long hideout on Tatooine for a rescue mission that took him far across the galaxy. The series reunited McGregor with Hayden Christensen, who reprises his role as Darth Vader. As recently as January, McGregor has said, I would love to do the second season, but there's no talk of it yet. McGregor said as recently as late January, noting there is a lot going on with Disney with regards to the future of its Star Wars properties. Asked anew about the possible Season 2 at LA Comic-Con, McGregor at first noted, I quite like to wear that armor from the Clone Wars. That could be something I'd enjoy doing again. Though it would require digital de-aging, but that way Hayden and I could really get back together again. So kind of sprinkling in the idea of doing a Clone Wars setup there. Turning to the far more practical prospect of simply picking up where the Disney Plus series left off, McGregor said, obviously, between the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi series and when Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan in Star Wars Episode 4, there's got to be another few stories in there. We're definitely hoping or exploring that, I think would be the word to say. So, that comes to us from Hugh McGregor via the TV Line. And despite what I've just said about Obi-Wan Season 1, and what I've said about not wanting Obi-Wan Season 2, like I also said, I still like Ewan McGregor in this role. So I could be open to an Obi-Wan Season 2. And my hope would be if they were to do an Obi-Wan Season 2, they would look at season 1, learn from their mistakes, see what went wrong, listen to feedback, and plot out and plan a much better season 2. But my hesitation with the season 2, and not even hesitation, but like my lack of interest with the season 2, is they kind of already did the story that I would have wanted from Obi-Wan. And you don't really get a second chance at a first impression. The idea of picking up 10 years later, when Obi-Wan Kenobi is on Tatooine in hiding, and he has to come face to face once again with Darth Vader, learn about what his apprentice has become, what his friend has become in Anakin, getting Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back together in these roles. You only really get one shot to show that story and make it work. And that is the story that I'm interested in. That's the hook. Like, that's the strongest hook that you could get. And in my opinion, they blundered it in season 1. Massively disappointing. And at the end of season 1, you're already getting so dangerously close to messing up the timeline in the original Star Wars of how long it's been since Darth Vader and Obi-Wan have seen each other. I feel something, a presence I've not felt since... What, Darth Vader? Yesterday? What, you see the guy yesterday? Did you see Obi-Wan last week? Like, how close are we going to get to this timeline where Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader, Anakin, are going to keep running into each other? So if you're going to do a season 2 and you don't want to mess with that timeline, you got to take Darth Vader out. And at the end of season 1, you kind of alluded to the fact that Darth Vader was done looking for Obi-Wan. He fully committed himself to the Emperor, and he was done with that obsession. And I don't know that I'm interested in a season 2 without a Darth Vader. And now a lot of people are going to say, just leave Darth Vader in the past. We don't need any more Darth Vader. That's the hook for me. That's the conflict for me. That you're not. The thing is, with season 2, at least on the surface of how I'm feeling right now, with an Obi-Wan season 2, you're not going to find a hook. You're not going to find a conflict, a story that's as captivating and interesting to me as that first season's potential was. Now, with all that said, I'm not a writer in Hollywood. I'm not listening to the conversations at Lucasfilm. They could have an amazing idea for doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2. Maybe they take the character in a completely new direction we've never seen before. New characters, new worlds, hopefully better production, because the Obi-Wan series looks so cheap. So there could be some good in a season 2. But I just feel so jaded from season 1. And they had the perfect story, and they botched it. So I just have no faith in them. And the rest of their Star Wars shows, aside from The Mandalorian and Andor, have given me no reason to give them any faith. Hopefully things are turning around over there. I don't know. But as it is right now, and even hearing Ewan McGregor say, you know, we could do some flashbacks to the Clone Wars and get me and Hayden back together. And it's like, maybe you could come up with a story reason as to why that is without a Darth Vader or even with Darth Vader. But it just feels like too little, too late. I don't know how that would work now that we've seen what we've seen. At the end of Obi-Wan season 1, Obi-Wan finally admits to himself his friend is dead. Darth Vader is all there is. And he's done with hope for Anakin. I don't know. Maybe there is a story there in season 2. They can continue. Maybe they could do something with it. But I'll just be honest. Season 1 just hurt too much. Season 1 just hurt me too much. Because I wanted a Vader series. I wanted an Obi-Wan series. I wanted to see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen come back so badly. I wanted their redemption from the prequels so badly, even though I like Revenge of the Sith. And this one just broke my heart. So I'll push back against the season 2 for now. They could win me over. They could come up with an idea. But until I hear an idea, I'm not excited for this. I think it will happen. I think it will happen because season 1 of Obi-Wan, even though I personally didn't like it, there were a couple, or not even a couple, a lot of people who did like it. The numbers, at least from what I remember from when they were coming out, it did great viewership-wise. If you have Ewan McGregor already on board wanting to do it, why would you say no to him? Just get better writers. Get better writers, plot out a better story. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.